One of the biggest mistakes that I see people making in dating is to always be searching for something better. You will always be seeking true love, but you'll never actually find it. Welcome to Seeking True Love, a podcast for highly sensitive, intuitive, growth-oriented women who are tired of shrinking themselves to fit into someone else's version of love. I'm Elizabeth Rave, dating and relationship coach for highly sensitive women, lifelong romantic, and yes, I'm a highly sensitive woman myself. Maybe you've asked yourself, why is this so hard for me? Why does love feel overwhelming or just out of reach? This podcast is here to help you understand yourself more deeply, trust your intuition again, and approach love in a way that actually works for women like us. Because love isn't something you chase, it's not some fairy tale, and it's not something that you just find one day. It's something you become ready for, because your love story should be extraordinary.
You're just right for me, and I'm just right for you. And I'll take your heart and squeeze so softly, so sweetly, forever love.
One of the biggest mistakes that I see people making in dating is to always be searching for something better. I call this a competitive dating mindset. This is where you're always looking for the next best thing. Is there something better out there? Is there an even better option? And this can really mess you up because if you have someone good who's sitting right in front of you, but you can't really appreciate them because you're always looking for the next best thing, well, if you're always looking for the next best thing, you're never going to find anything. For many people, this is almost like a reflex. And it's so much worse now with dating apps because we literally have hundreds, if not thousands, of dating profiles just at our fingertips. And you can just swipe and swipe and swipe and swipe. And there's this abundance of choice, which in many ways is a very positive thing in dating. Overall, I think dating apps are actually very good for dating. And this abundance of choice creates an illusion of infinite possibility. In reality, it leads to decision fatigue, emotionally detaching from actual human connection, and this chronic dissatisfaction with your dating life. And this happens because instead of building intimacy with another human being, you're sitting there in this mindset where you're just questioning, okay, could I do better? This person seems good, but could I do better? Am I settling? What if my real true love is just a few more swipes away? That mindset's going to keep you single forever. It's going to keep you perpetually unhappy forever. It's going to erode your ability to really commit to another person. This dating model at its worst, it has people treating each other like they're disposable and replaceable. And in many ways, that's true. If you go on one bad date from someone you met on a dating app and that doesn't work out, you just go right back on the app. Keep swiping, you find someone else. You find someone else, you find someone else. Again, this abundance can be very positive because the amount of options you have does give you the freedom and the ability to really find something good. And at some point, you need to actually find that something good. That's never going to happen if you're stuck in this competitive dating mindset where you're always wondering if there's something better out there. You will always be seeking true love, but you'll never actually find it if you're stuck in this cycle. It's kind of like upgrading to new technology. You know, when a new model of smartphone comes out, the older models, they become obsolete. They're not as good as the new model. This is a really good thing when it comes to technology advances because you want the best option available and you want to keep upgrading. But I think sometimes people apply this to their romantic dating life, and this can be very toxic because if you're always upgrading to the new model, actually, you're going to stop yourself from experiencing the best kind of love you could in your life because you'll always be looking for something and it will always be just out of reach. You need to realize that there will always be someone who is hotter, wealthier, more charming, more successful, more of whatever it is than the person sitting in front of you. And you know what? The same is true for you. There is always going to be someone hotter, cuter, wealthier, more charming, more flirtatious. more of something than you. And if you're stuck in that kind of dating model, you're always going to be unhappy. You're always going to feel insecure. You're going to be unhappy with your partner. You're going to be insecure in yourself, because not only are you going to be always questioning whether or not you could be doing better, you're going to be questioning whether or not they could be doing better. You cannot build a true love experience if you're always wondering, is there something better? Could I be doing better? What to do instead? I suggest adopting what I call puzzle piece dating mentality. That is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. You are thinking of yourself like a puzzle piece, and you're looking for someone else who is a fit for you. If you've ever done a jigsaw puzzle, you know that certain pieces fit together and other pieces, even pieces in the same puzzle, they don't fit together. So if you think of yourself as having certain edges, you're going to find someone who's going to fit you. You're going to fit well together. When you adopt this puzzle piece mentality in dating, there's no competition. It doesn't matter if you're walking down the street and someone who's 10 times hotter than you are walks by, because they're not a fit like you are. There's no competition for you. There's no competition for who you are, and there's no competition for who your perfect fit partner is. So you don't have to feel insecure or worried about whether or not anyone is settling. Real settling is if you have compromised something very important to you in a relationship, if you've compromised your desires, your values, your way of life. That's when you know you've settled for real, is if you've given up something that's truly important to you to make something work. But in your perfect fit partnership, you're not going to have to give up anything important to you. You're actually going to be getting everything you want. That's the beauty of it. You get everything you want. You don't have to worry that you've settled for anything less, because you'll be fulfilled. It doesn't matter that there are other people in the world who have different things, like more money or a hotter body, because that's not the point. In order to find your perfect fit partner, you need to get very clear about who you are and what you want in love and in life. So consider the following. What's your communication style, and how do you want to be communicated with? For me personally, I'm okay with hearing things that might hurt my feelings sometimes, because I really want honest, open communication in my relationship. How do you want your relationship communication to be? What about shared activities? What kind of things is it important to you that you do with your partner? If you have certain hobbies and interests, is it important to you that your partner take those on? It may or may not be. For example, if you really like to go hiking, you might want a partner who's going to want to go hiking with you, but you may not care about that. Maybe it's fine for you to go hiking alone or with friends while your partner does other things. Take stock now of the activities that you really want to be sharing with somebody else, because you're going to want somebody who's either going to be interested in those things or willing to take on an interest in those things once they're in a relationship with you. What about relationship style? Our culture tends to place a very high value on heterosexual, monogamous, long-term relationships. That's not the only kind of relationship that exists. That might be the kind of relationship you want, and it may not be. Even if it is what you want, you're going to meet other people in the dating world who aren't looking for that. And you shouldn't assume that they have some sort of commitment issues or emotional issues simply because they're not looking for the same thing as you. There are many people out there who prefer casual dating. There are many people out there who want short-term connections for whatever reason, and that's okay. Just know that if that's not what you're looking for, don't try to date those people and then convert them somehow into a long-term relationship. I've seen women make this mistake a lot, where they want a long-term relationship. They might even want to get married and have a family. They meet a guy who very clearly states, whether on his dating profile, in person, or both, I'm not looking for that right now. I just want to have fun. I just want to have a fling. I'm just looking for something casual, something like a friends with benefit. They'll date that guy anyway, hoping that, oh, maybe he's going to turn into something. Don't do that. He told you what he wants, and it's not what you want. He's not your puzzle piece fit. There are men out there who want the long-term commitment, who want to get married and have a family. Yes, they do exist. So if that's what you're looking for, you can find that simply by not dating men who don't fit that. The flip side is also true. If what you want right now is something more casual, That's totally fine. And there are plenty of people out there who would be interested in that as well. It's not better or worse to have a long-term relationship. These are different relationship styles. And whatever's a fit for you, that's what's a fit for you. Personally, I want the long-term commitment. So that's what I have. And most of what I talk about in this podcast is about that because that's my experience. But I don't want to dismiss other types of relationships as somehow being not as valid because that's not really what I think. I think that you can have deep, deep love in a short-term relationship, and I think you can have not very much love in a long-term relationship, depending on how consciously you co-create it with another person. So ask yourself, what kind of relationship am I looking for? And then find someone who's looking for the same type of relationship as you are. Along these lines, you should consider whether or not you want monogamy, polyamory, ethical non-monogamy, an open relationship, a swinging relationship, and maybe you didn't even realize that there were all those different kinds of relationships. It's not as simple as monogamy and non-monogamy. There are lots of different types of non-monogamy. I started practicing polyamory over 10 years ago, and I am always learning new terms. Always. The beauty of that is that you actually get to design the type of relationship you want. This is puzzle piece dating at its finest. The type of relationship I have now, I would describe as monogamish, which is not quite monogamous, but mostly monogamous. Types of relationships I've had in the past are fully monogamous and fully polyamorous. One didn't really lend itself more to true love than the other. It had to do with my changing preferences and me discovering what I really like and want the most. If you're unfamiliar with all this, I would suggest educating yourself on all the different types of relationships. I recommend the book Designer Relationships, A Guide to Happy Monogamy, Positive Polyamory, and Optimistic Open Relationships. This book is by Mark A. Michaels and Patricia Johnson. My current partner and I read this book, and it prompted discussion about exactly what type of relationship we wanted to create with one another. But you can do this when you're still single and just get clear on what you want. Your perfect fit is out there. What about your sexual styles? Some people like kinky sex, BDSM. Other people are more vanilla. Some people want to explore tantra. Some people don't. Some people like it slow. Some people like it hard and fast. You get the idea. What do you like? What turns you on? What feels good to you in sex and sexual intimacy? One of the things that I discovered for myself is that I consider myself to be what's called a demisexual, which means that I really need to have an emotional bond with somebody before I'm attracted to them. This is important to know because it means that you may not be attracted to somebody right away, even if they ultimately are a good fit for you. So along these lines, it's a good idea to know, how do you personally experience attraction? How do you know when you feel attraction? Do you have a good sense of how it happens for you? It may happen for you differently than it happens for other people. Some people know right away. For other people, it's a slow build. Maybe it depends on the situation. Sometimes I've been attracted to someone right away. Sometimes it took me time to get to know someone. Some of the best relationships I've had, I had to really get to know the person first. And the first time I ever saw them, I didn't really think much of them one way or another. They were just a guy I met. It was later on through getting to know them that I really discovered, oh, I like this one. How does it happen for you? If you don't have a good sense of how to know when you're actually feeling attraction for somebody, it's pretty easy to resort into that competitive dating mindset because you're going to start ticking off boxes inside of your head of, this is what society tells me I should be attracted to in a person. But that's going to be pretty disconnected from what actually feels good to you. What about other life values? This may not be important to you if you're looking for something more short-term, but in long-term commitment, where you're really merging your lives together, you need to consider things like, how important is health and fitness to you? Is it important to you that your partner be healthy and fit? I don't just mean that in terms of looks, I mean that in terms of their habits and their lifestyle. What about career, finances? Again, maybe it's not that important to you that they make a lot of money, or maybe it is. Maybe what's more important is that they're good at managing their money. They're good at investing their money. There are people who make a lot of money, but they don't have a lot of wealth because they spend it all. So you may want to consider how well your financial styles are going to match one another. What about religion or spirituality? How important is that to you? And how important is it that your partner share your beliefs and traditions with you? For some people, it's very important. For other people, they don't really need that. While I have my own personal spirituality, I don't really need my partner to share that with me. It's my spirituality. And while I wouldn't want someone telling me that I was wrong or stupid for having my beliefs, I don't actually need my partner to have the same beliefs I do. I actually really appreciate being able to have conversations with someone who has a slightly different viewpoint because it makes for interesting conversation with one another. So again, you have to decide what's right for you, what's important to you in this area. What about your level of education? What's your level of education, and is it important to you that your partner share that with you? I've met people who went to college and say that they want to date someone who also went to college. They've been to grad school, they want someone who's also been to grad school. Other people don't care. Another thing that I would definitely encourage you to consider is your temperament. What do I mean by temperament? Well, I didn't come up with this word. This is from a book called The Highly Sensitive Person in Love by Dr. Elaine Aron. This book really changed my life when it came to dating and relationships. If you're not familiar with the concept of a highly sensitive person, basically, there are different nervous system types, just like there are different body types in the human race. There are some nervous systems that are more sensitive to the environment than others. It doesn't make one person better than another if you're more sensitive or not. The point is there are differences. There are advantages and disadvantages to each kind of nervous system. There are differences between two highly sensitive people being in a relationship with one another and a highly sensitive person being in relationship with someone who is not a highly sensitive person, or HSP. So an HSP-HSP relationship is going to look different than an HSP non-HSP relationship. Again, one's not necessarily better than the other. There are advantages and disadvantages to each. It's good to know what you want and what you like. This is really going to change the way you think about relationship temperament and subtle differences that can make a relationship feel good or not quite right. Now, let's talk about whether or not you want marriage. Do you want to get married? Do you want to live together? Do you want to have kids one day? There are partners out there who want to do this with you. Trust me. You can match with them if you start looking for them and intentionally dating them. So I'm going to summarize real quick everything we just talked about. Your communication style, what kinds of activities you'd like to share, what kind of relationship style you want. Do you want to be monogamous, polyamorous, or something in between? What's your sexual style? What's your temperament? Are you a highly sensitive person? What about your health and fitness habits, your career goals, your religion, your level of education? Are you looking for a long-term relationship where you ultimately end up living together, getting married, and maybe even having and raising kids together? Is there anything else that I didn't list that is also important to you? What comes to mind? These are the edges of your puzzle piece. When you go out looking for this, you will find it. It might take a few tries, but you will find it. When you shift from a competitive dating mindset to a puzzle piece dating mentality, everything changes because you'll stop chasing this illusion of perfection and you're going to start seeking real compatibility with another person. You're not going to focus on what could I get? What should I get? What should I have? And is there always something else out there? You're going to find someone who's the best fit for you in your real life. Remember, the first piece of this puzzle is you. Get really clear on your values, your desires, your lifestyle, and your emotional needs. This is the foundation of finding lasting true love. When you know who you are, you're not going to second guess yourself or your choices. You're not going to get distracted by the charming but wrong for you people who show up in your life. And you're not going to spend time dreaming about idealized fantasies of people that just don't really exist in real life. You're definitely not going to be stuck on that hamster wheel of always, always looking and never, never finding. You're going to be grounded, confident, clear on what you want. It's so much easier to recognize the person that is the right fit for you. If you're still feeling unsure and you'd like some more clarity, I would invite you to book a free 1-hour discovery call with me using the link in the show notes. Let's explore what kind of love you're really looking for and how to find your perfect fit partner. No pressure, no confusion, no more dating app fatigue. Because love isn't a competition, it's a connection with another person. And your love story should be extraordinary.